everyone, welcome to a new episode in my Deep Chat series. I got a special guest with me today. This is Mayuko.
Hi.
Tell people what you do.
So I am an iOS engineer at Patreon, and I also have my own YouTube channel about working in tech and lifestyle and things like that.
I wanted to bring Mayuko over here because she just made a video all about feelings. And would you consider yourself like an emotional person?
I am, yeah. I
Same.
feel a lot of feels.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about being emotional at work and how this impacts us and how we like navigate it in the workplace, I guess.
Yeah, it's a hard topic.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I used to think that being emotional was a big flaw of mine. I still kind of do, because I feel like the way you're supposed to be in the workforce is that you're supposed to have it all together and like be professional all the time.
Yeah.
And there's no room for like crying, for example.
Or just outwardly expressing just emotions in general.
Yep.
Yeah, there is definitely like, it feels like being professional and being emotional are mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But I think recently I've just come to think that those things don't have to be mutually exclusive, and they can really inform each other really well so that you can be really successful in your professional career and also feel emotionally fulfilled too.
This is what I've come to realize too, is that as a designer, and I guess, you know, as anything where we're making a product for users, having empathy is a really great benefit. And I think as emotional people, we have pretty good empathy.
We do, yeah. Like, I think a lot about being emotional is like putting yourself in someone's shoes and just really feeling what that feels like. Like, yeah, like designer, and I think I'm in a very like product specific position. So I work on a customer facing product. And so making things that are really useful for someone means that you have to put yourself in someone's shoes and be like, how would they feel using this?
Yeah.
And so I think it's not just about like, it is about that and trying to imagine what that's like, but I think in order to feel that well, you have to be also in tune with your own emotions.
Yes. What it comes down to as well, I think, is a workplace where this is encouraged and like allowed. I personally haven't felt like I can be fully myself at work until I started my job at ConvertKit. That's the first like role I've been in where I didn't feel like I completely had to split off professional Charlie from like Charlie who she actually is, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm the same too. Like Patreon was the first place that I felt comfortable doing that. And it's funny because Patreon was the second job that I took after college. And I remember in college, there was a huge emphasis on like, let's be professional, like dress a certain way, talk a certain way, hold yourself this way so that people take you seriously, which makes sense in a way because it's like you are a new grad and you feel like you have something to prove.
Yes.
But then you take out this whole human side of it out. And so then you're just trying to like, I don't know if it's like impressing other people, but it's just like you feel kind of almost like you have a guard on sort of.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of, unfortunately, different tech companies and stuff, like there is this sort of competitive, almost like guardful nature that can happen, which I think is honestly kind of natural in a lot of ways. Like people are working very closely together on very hard problems. And so values and thoughts and ideas clash a lot. I personally think that like sorting through all that together with your coworkers is one of the best parts about working together with someone.
Yeah.
Like you're spending a lot of time with them. So why not get to know who they are, right?
A lot of time. I think you can do better work that way as well.
Yeah.
When you can like know where someone else is coming from and you can just relate to each other and get the work done better.
Yeah, it establishes trust too.
Yes,
and that's like a thing that's so important, I think, within a team. Like making decisions, like you want to trust that like the person who is responsible for something is going to do their job well. And I think coming up with a rapport and understanding where that person is coming from and empathizing with them is a really important way to establish trust. And it feels good that other people trust you, and it feels good to trust other people. And then I think as a result, you make better things together. So,
yeah, for sure. What are some things that happen in your workplace that fosters that environment and the reasons why you feel like you're okay to be yourself at work?
Yeah.
Could you put your finger on any?
I think there's one very specific thing that I think my company does really well, which is listening. Expressing your emotions is really important, but like I think the thing that feels really valuable is having someone on the other end listening really, really well. And so like not cutting people off and like seeing that if someone wants to say something, like opening up the floor to them. I feel like my emotions and thoughts and ideas are valued, and so I feel comfortable expressing them. I feel like someone wants to listen to them. I've been in environments where like it feels like I don't have a chance to say something or I was cut off or something. And then it becomes almost this like oh, I have to like grab the spotlight basically to get my thoughts out. And I think that quickly becomes sort of a almost toxic environment.
Yeah.
And certain people don't get to say what they want to say.
And everyone's just waiting for their turn to speak rather than listening.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think listening is a big part of that. And it's honestly like everyone's responsibility to open that up. And everyone can do something to make that environment feel more inclusive that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think one of the things for me at ConvertKit that kind of made me realize, whoa, okay, maybe I can be myself here, was we do these sessions called unsolicited feedback on our team retreats. So it's within teams, and basically it's like 7 minutes or something when your team talks about you, not to you, and they're saying things like, I really want Charlie to step up and like do this and like that sort of thing. And it all comes from a place of truly wanting the best for that person and wanting to help them develop and improve themselves. And I'd never experienced that before in a company because I don't think that's completely normal.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get emotional during it, you know, because sometimes it's hard to hear things about yourself, or like there's things that you were maybe feeling and to hear it reflected back on you. And sometimes even just the really nice things people say.
Yeah.
Like if you're going through like a low moment and someone says something really nice about you, that makes me cry. I don't know about you.
The warm fuzzies. I would cry so hard. I'd be like,
I think that there's this kind of this switch happening. I'm seeing it with a few different tech companies anyway, that it's less about people sitting in seats, like getting the code out or whatever, and it's more about humans making something together.
Yeah.
And so we are humans and we do have emotions, like all of us, even if you're not like as super emotional as me and Mayuko are, you know, everyone does have emotions.
Yeah.
And so recognizing that, and recognizing that if you're a person at work, you're gonna have emotions. The more you can stay attuned to your workmates and how they're feeling, and, you know, have them do that for you, just feels more like meaningful to me.
Yeah, same. Like I have a personal value of just like, I think that I will be proud of the life that I lived if I am very emotionally true to myself and I feel all the things that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And so like I think that that is a very human thing. Like feeling and emotionally reacting to things is so human. And like personally, I don't want to bar myself from doing that. And so I also want to understand how other people are feeling. And like, I just think that's like a human experience, you know, that like everyone should experience, I guess, that is really valuable and can teach you so many things about who you are and who other people are in the world.
Yeah.
And it's just like a part of us that's just like, you don't have to Google for emotions. It's just
like, they're just there.
Yeah, they're just there. Like when you just have them. I think oftentimes like the tech industry feels kind of scary, and there is a lot of like robotic mechanic topics and stuff, and so oftentimes we forget that like it's people behind the technology after all.
Speaking of being emotional at work, have you ever cried at work?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us like about why and like how you felt the first time that happened?
Yeah, I actually don't know if I remember the first time. Maybe it's happened often enough that I don't. I know that I tend to get very emotional and start to cry when just the emotions are just overflowing out of like a bucket, basically. Yeah. If you imagine just the bucket metaphor, and the water is just like toppling over. And oftentimes that's when like I am very overwhelmed or frustrated about a different situation. And I think it happens especially if I'm suppressing those emotions.
Yes.
I still am not the type of person to feel comfortable crying in front of like anybody, I guess. Like I still only cry to the people who I'm very comfortable with. I realize that I do cry when that happens, and oftentimes I'm surprised. I'm like, why am I crying? Like,
yes.
I don't know why I'm so emotional about this, but it does give me time to figure out like, okay, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? What can I do? Like, who do I talk to? Who do I need to talk to sort these feelings out? But yeah, I'm like still sort of scared to cry at work. Yeah, like I think there's also a stigma about just like being a woman at work. Just like I don't want to be seen as someone who like is only emotional. I realize that if I see someone crying at work, I don't necessarily think of them as like an emotional
or like
crying
weak.
Weak person. I'm like, oh, they're so strong, they're able to be emotionally honest with themselves. But that's also a journey that I had to like go through to realize that as well.
Yeah, totally. I feel the same like you're saying. I feel kind of ashamed at how little I can handle my emotions sometimes because I'm a woman and I feel like I don't want to be a stereotype.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's really obvious when I get upset, like my voice gets really shaky and I just can't control it, and then I get frustrated at myself and that just makes it worse.
Yeah.
But that's been situations where I'm like, I don't know, in a meeting or something and having to I don't know, defend some work or like express my frustration, and I can feel my voice start to shake and I'm like, I don't want to cry over this. This is ridiculous. It's not even that big a deal, but sometimes it just happens.
It does.
And I don't know, I still don't feel okay with that. Like you said, I don't feel comfortable with doing that, but I just have to accept that it happens sometimes as well. There's not much I can do about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just who I am.
And I think one thing that made me feel more comfortable with it little by little, because I used to be way more uncomfortable. I was like, there's no way I'm crying at work. Like,
run to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. And clear out all the tears, like make sure my nose is not red. I realized that like my emotions and just how I'm feeling is almost like a strength of mine in a lot of ways. Because I have strong feelings, I think I empathize really easily with other people. And I found that to be a strength, especially in giving feedback to other peers, but also about like the product and code and stuff like that. And so once I realized like, oh, my emotions are a strength, I'm learning more to, I'm figuring out how to channel those emotions to be constructive, I guess.
Yeah.
Without it just being like crying.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm learning how to express my emotions in a constructive way, which is a really hard thing to do. You have to find the right words so that like you feel like you're being true to yourself, but you're also not causing concern in other people's thoughts and reaction. I think I figured out how to do that better and better. And so I think that is also what is helping me coming to terms with like, I feel things and that's okay. And it's about like, how do I turn that into something constructive for the team?
I feel like that's a good moral of this video, is that if you feel things, that's okay.
Yeah. Totally okay to feel things.
Yeah, you're only human. All right, we should end it there before this goes on too long. But thank you, Mayuko.
Thank you.
This is fun. I love this series because we do get to talk about these topics that perhaps you wouldn't, I don't know, normally see in tech.
I love these chats a lot.
Yeah.
I love watching them.
Oh, thanks, Mayuko. So Mayuko does a lot of really great videos about like not your average tech stuff on her channel. So I definitely recommend you go head over there and subscribe to her. There'll be a link on a card in the description, all the places. Also, if you head on over to Mayuko's channel, we are filming a video over there about being a designer.
Yeah.
And she's gonna, like, I'm gonna give the lay of the land, basically, about being a designer in tech. So if that sounds interesting, which if you're here and you like design, it probably is interesting, head on over and watch that. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
Bye.